Live from the famed parquet floor of Boston Garden, it's the defending Eastern Conference champion Celtics hosting the improving Atlanta Hawks.
TBS Sports presents NBA Basketball, America's Game. Brought to you by Miller Beer. Miller, made the American way since 1855. By Renault Jeep, official vehicles of the NBA. By Menon Speed Stick Antiperspirant. Let the wide stick give you the edge. And by Delta, serving more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there.
They continue to pack them in at Boston Garden. The 238th consecutive sellout is on hand for tonight's ball game. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rick Barry. At first glance, you would think that tonight should be an easy game for the Celtics, but that is not necessarily going to be the case. In the 3 games that these two teams have played this season, despite the fact the Celtics have won all 3, the point differential has only been 5 points. The Atlanta Hawks have won 5 games in a row. They have won 3 in a row on the road, and they find themselves in second place, only 4 games behind the Central Division leading Milwaukee Bucks. And Bill, we have seen the Boston Celtics a number of times on our telecast this year, and despite the fact that they have some injury problems, they're continuing to win.
That's right, Rick. You know, they got a lot of little injuries. Well, they're not the kind of injuries that make guys miss games. They're just nagging little injuries like Bill Walton has a broken nose. That's no big deal. Danny Ainge has a bad ankle. Dennis Johnson has a full groin muscle. But these are not injuries that take minutes away. They'll play good quality minutes. What these injuries do is throw their timing off just a little bit. So consequently, it makes the team have to struggle a little bit, but they're still winning. And the Atlanta Hawks are winning. And Mike Fratello has deserved a lot of credit for that, the head coach. But this team is a lot more than just Dominique Wilkins. No doubt about it. Dominique's a great player. But this team has matured into a real force in this league. And one of the reasons is Kevin Willis, second-year man. Started this year coming off the bench. Worked himself into a starting position, taking great contributions to the team. And in the last 8 games, he's averaging 11 rebounds a game. So he's really contributing. John Concac, rookie, not starting, but making a great contribution. And I think the main reason for that is that every day in practice, he has to work with Willis Reed. And I want to tell you, that'll make you grow up real quick. And let's not overlook the fact that the backcourt of the Hawks has been playing exceptionally well, led by the return of Doc Rivers, who was out with an early season injury. He's playing the best basketball of his career right now, and we're going to get a good close look at Doc and his running mates when we come back with the start of tonight's ball game.
He's back. He's sick in the hospital.
Yeah, they said he might never come back.
All right, lunkheads, less than 30 seconds.
Today, more people survive cancer of the colon, thanks in part to a test that provides early detection. And Eckerd pharmacists have given out over 1 million of these tests, free.
Mr. Conley, what's so funny?
He's glad to have you back, Coach.
To an Eckerd pharmacist, nothing's more important than your health.
Sure, trailing suspects through back streets and dark alleys is dangerous work, but it's worth it. Because after cracking a tough case, I open one of these, a light beer from Miller. After tracking down hot leads all day, a cold, light, short tastes great. And light less filling, too, with a third less calories than their regular beer. And you can't afford to get filled up in this line of work.
Orsini.
Good news, lady. Found your dog.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer. And less.
Let's take a quick look at the starting lineups of both of the ball clubs tonight. First of all, for head coach Mike Fratello and the Atlanta Hawks, it'll be Dominique Wilkins and Kevin Willis at the forward positions. Tree Rollins will take up chores in the center, and Glenn Doc Rivers, along with Randy Whitman, will be in the backcourt. And for K.C. Jones and the defending Eastern Conference champion Celtics, very familiar names of Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish. They're going with Dennis Johnson, and filling in for Danny Ainge with that ankle problem is Jerry Seasting, who has played exceptionally well in the 2 games that he started that Ainge has missed over the last week. The officials for tonight's ball game, on the left, the head of the officials, Darryl Garrettson. On the right is Wally Rooney. And one of the reasons that this Atlanta Hawk team, in talking to Mike Fratello, Bill, has felt that they have lost in the season meetings thus far, the 3 meetings, you see the statistics there from those 3 games, is that he feels his team has done an outstanding job of shutting down the middle against the Celtics, where they are so formidable. But it's been the outside shooting of players like Seasting and Dennis Johnson and Danny Ainge who have really hurt the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, when the Celtics win against the good teams, they have to have good outside shooting because the good teams match up well enough to keep them from running away from deep inside.
You know, one of the interesting things is that you would say, playing against one of the good teams, it's really a big surprise this season that the Atlanta Hawks have turned into one of the better teams in the NBA.
Well, you got a good combination of veterans and young players. They have a good system. I think that it's really significant that Willis Reed's working with the big guys. Because if you can get the big guys to play anyway near the way Willis Reed plays, they can really help you.
Oh, boy, that was almost the start of the game with the take-home move by Wilkins, but he recovers to put it in. And actually, it would have been more fun if he hadn't dropped the ball.
And then he's playing a little different than he's played before. Before, he's just been a shooter on a team that wasn't winning. And now he's become a good player on a team that's playing good basketball. Great play there by...
Back pick by Robert Parrish, freeing Larry Bird. So a little miscommunication on the defense of the Hawks, something that they've done very well this season, playing defense as Rivers draws the foul against Seasting.
Well, what he's going to do is test Seasting. That's a sort of a post-up play where you just keep going forward and force yourself in the middle without driving. And it's just the same as if you had a little guy and you backed him in.
Well, they said that he was not in the act of shooting, so the Hawks take it out on the sideline.
He was in the act of shooting.
I thought he was, but Darryl Garrettson, the head of the officials, thought otherwise, and he wins. As usual. There's Wilkins inside again.
He says, what's the record in this place?
Well, he's off to a quick start. Larry Bird going to have to work exceptionally hard on the defensive end with the assignment against Wilkins. Of course, Wilkins has the same assignment down the other end. That's a good back cut that time by the part of Jerry Seasting, but Rollins knocked that pass away. Good defense. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Dennis Johnson drifting to the left, can't find the mark. Free Rollins just a little late getting in there as Dennis Johnson will go to the free throw line.
Let's take another look at that play, Rick. Here goes Dennis' baseline. Now here comes Tree now. Real late getting there.
And actually, in a way, he should have been anticipating that because the way Dominique was playing defense initially, he was overplaying Dennis Johnson to the outside. He played Dennis up high, and Dennis had the baseline, so I know when you played, if you saw that, you would have been on the baseline.
At least. Except if that was you, Rick. I don't know if I went baseline. I saw you coming.
Well, I would have stopped and shot the jumper.
I know. I would try to get a position to get a rebound.
Hopefully there wouldn't have been one of those. 4-3, the Hawks lead. We played a minute and a half here in the first period from Boston Garden. Rivers lost the handle on it. And one thing you'll see the Hawks try to do repeatedly is run up the court before the Celtics can get set up. Mike Fratello would like to play an up-tempo game if at all possible. Larry Bird returns the favor to Dominique Wilkins. So Dominique gives up the first, well, another basket to Larry. They both have 4. Another turnover for the Hawks. McHale.
That's why the Hawks had to get back real quick on defense. When you got a good team, they see the open guys, and they know a lot of times, especially a good guard like Dennis Johnson, will know when to make that pass.
Wilkins can't find it, but Rollins is there to take it home on the offensive glass. First 2 for Tree. Hawks trail by 1. DJ calling out the play for Casey Jones's Boston Celtics. Whitman with good defense, but Parrish with another offensive rebound. Kept alive by Rollins. That's the 7-footer Willis. 4 against 2, Dominique. And McHale keeps it out. Bird against Rollins to Parrish. Troweling Robert Parrish.
Little bitty steps.
Well, Mike Fratello has to be happy because this definitely is an up-tempo game at this juncture.
And they don't really want to get into that real up-tempo on defense.
Defensively, no. Offensively, definitely, yes. That's kind of hard to do, though, when you get an offensive up-tempo game going for yourself to not have the other team coming back at you. Whitman hits Bird, was wide open down the court, but...
Well, because he gambled to try to make the steal and came up empty.
And it's thrown away by Dennis Johnson. Second turnover for the Celtics. There's that up-tempo. Watch out. That speaks for itself. That's 6. But Dominique Wilkins, he has been playing inspired basketball lately. Bird gets him in the paratrooper club. Another steal, this time Wilkins against DJ. To Willis. Kevin Willis gives the Hawks a 12-7 advantage. First 2 points of the game for Willis.
And they're getting that ball out and up quick.
Hawks have run off 8-0. Casey Jones wants a timeout. His Boston Celtics are trailing the visiting Atlanta Hawks 12-7 with 8:31 to go here in the first period. And you can see why the Atlanta Hawks are a much improved basketball team.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Army.
The Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
We're the Armed Forces.
It's a great place to start.
A new company has begun, yet it has a 150-year history. It's only a few days old, but it's already the #1 manufacturer of medium and heavy-duty trucks. Although you've never heard of it, it's in the top quarter of the Fortune 500. The company is Navistar International, and while it's just starting to roll, it's already in high gear. Introducing Navistar, the rebirth of International Harvester.
For Saturday Night Hoop on America's Game, the NBA.
Super playmaker Isaiah Thomas leads Detroit's hit and run attack against some tough cookies. Dr. J, Moses, and Philadelphia. Live at 8:05 Eastern on the Super Station.
Saturday.
NBA, 8:05 Eastern, Saturday.
And this is why Dominique Wilkins was the human highlight film.
Hello, Kevin McHale. Here I come.
Dominique Wilkins averaging over 30 points a game in the last 17 as Dave Cowens, a former Celtic who did a lot of wonderful things for the green and white here in Boston Garden. Looking on, along with that was Henry Finkel off to his left, the other tall fellow in the blue and gray striped sweater, former reserve center. Shot clock goes inside of 10 for the Celtics. And Larry Bird delivers once again, and he ties Dominique with 6 points.
Casey Jones told me that Larry is just starting to play like a Larry Bird.
The shooting touch has returned. He's been over in the high 20s and into the 30s in the last several ball games. That's Rivers against Seasteen. So the Doc with his first 2 points. Still a 5-point lead for the Atlanta Hawks. Both teams shooting well over the 50% mark.
And one of the reasons I think the Hawks are able to play the Celtics so tough is that they have a front line that's just as tall or taller than the Celtics front line.
They're going to call the illegal defensive warning against Glenn Rivers. Shows you that when Larry Bird has the ball, he seems to command a lot of attention. Three-pointer, Larry Bird. Count it. Bird with 9 quick points here, and we've only played 4.5 minutes. It's Rollins against Parrish. Rollins with a little flat shot that time. And Kevin McHale doing what he does so wonderfully well, rebounding for the Celtics. Parrish with a quick spin move. Count it. Now, second foul against Tree Rollins.
Now, Tree Rollins, that after Parrish got the ball, he didn't back away from it. See, he's too close there.
Bodied up, right. Gave him the chance to spin baseline, and Rivers was trying to come to help, but it was a little bit too late. Excellent point.
The only thing he did him, he stayed too close. He stayed too close to the wrong side. If you go that close, at least make him go to the middle.
Well, Robert Parrish had 2 mistakes for the price of 1 with Tree Rollins that time. At least Tree made 2 of them, and Tree goes to the bench with that second foul, bringing in first-round draft choice John Koncak, who Bill talked about in the pregame. Koncak.
A lot of tall people out there, I can tell you that.
We've been working every day with Willis Reed whenever they have a practice session. Larry Bird. Parrish was open. Larry waited a little bit too long, it looked like, but a nice recovery by Robert Parrish.
What he did was he waited a long time, but he took something off of that ball. So that when he got there, it was a floater.
4 for Parrish, and this time Mike Fratello decides to call a timeout as he has seen that 5-point advantage be whittled away by the Celtics. They lead 16-14.
Renault and Jeep, the official vehicles of the NBA, presents the NBA rulebook. The Atlanta Hawks work the ball to Cliff Livingston, who looks for a turnaround jump shot. Livingston is pushed behind the plane of the backboard, but scores a basket by throwing the ball over the top of the glass. Is this a legal basket?
This Jeep Cherokee has some amazing things going for it. Room for 5 adults or 71 cubic feet of cargo. Doors, your choice of 2 or 4. Drive, 2 or 4-wheel shift on the fly. Power from a torquey 2.5-liter engine. But most important, this Cherokee is all Jeep, body and soul.
The NBA rulebook states that a ball passing over the backboard, regardless of its direction, is considered out of bounds. The basket is disallowed.
To John Kaiser, who had 6 grand openings in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the comforts of perks.
These are enough.
To Gary McKee, who had to laugh at the same joke 6 times, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
You've earned it.
And to Nell McCarran, who had to dress for success in 6 cities, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles.
I've earned it.
We make you feel like flying.
And for additional NBA action here on the Superstation, we hope you'll join Skip Carey and John Andres tomorrow night as the Philadelphia 76ers travel to Pontiac to take on the Detroit Pistons, 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time. And then in continuing with our Monday night telecast, our second of this start of 1985-86 season, here we have the Denver Nuggets and the Milwaukee Bucks, Monday, 8:05 Eastern Time, and Bill and I will be there to bring you all the action of that particular ball game. 2 of the better teams in the Midwest and Central Division. Dominique Wilkins gets it back and takes it home. Wilkins now with 8. So he and Bird almost in a standoff. Larry Bird with 9 points. They're kind of nullifying each other.
Well, these front lines match up very well, I think. And the game may be decided the backcourt unless one of these guys has a very hot hand.
Good pass, Bird to McHale.
And that's what Bird. Looks like Bird might have a hot hand, not just in shooting, but in passing.
Well,
also.
he usually has hands that way and rebounding as well. Does it all. That's what happens when you double team him. Whitman with a good fake against Dennis Johnson. And Randy Whitman, an excellent outside shooter, comes up with his second basket.
Dennis was held pretty good by the big man setting the screen there.
We're tied at 18. Larry Bird, that could be offensive foul. No, they didn't call it for throwing off the left hand as he and Konkak find a very, well, that's really not the kind of way you want to meet each other.
Let's see what you can see that hand out there, Rick.
And he almost threw it. Now watch the left hand. There's Konkak comes out now to try and help out. He's up in the air. See the left hand? He did kind of throw it out there a little bit, Bill.
Well, if you're a rookie,
I see.
That's an offensive foul.
I mean, the defensive foul.
Right. No, that's an offensive if you're a rookie.
Oh, for Larry Bird, you mean? Right, okay.
He's not a rookie.
But Konkak is a rookie, and so he gets the block.
That's right.
Larry Bird with 11 points.
And Larry probably walk over to him and say, and don't you forget it.
And listen, if Dominique was asking what the record is, Larry wants to know, too, because he's got 11, and we've got still 5 minutes and 40 seconds to play here in the first period. This is what the Hawks do not want to do, is have to set up as Rivers finds a hole, and he'll go to the free throw line, and Seasting having a difficult time defending Doc Rivers.
Well, what the Hawks are doing right now is they're getting good penetration. They're getting a lot of action in the paint.
It's 2 team fouls against Boston. There's 3 against the Hawks.
2 shots.
Rivers missed the first 19 games of the season with a broken right wrist, and he told us right before the ball game that the wrist is still weak. He said, but I still managed to get up quite a few shots.
Not that weak.
Yeah, no, he had 29 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 7 steals against the Pistons the other night. Not a bad line. Dennis Johnson draws a foul against Whitman. That'll be the 4th team foul against the Hawks. Celtics ball on the sideline.
I was talking to Mike Fratello, and he was saying that it has hurt Glenn Rivers in that the decisions that he has to make still haven't gotten there yet as easy as they will when he's really into his game.
Whitman from Rivers.
He's a pretty good shooter. Whitman.
Outstanding shooter. That's his third outside hoop. He's got 6. Rivers with another assist. He's been averaging over 8 assists a game, Doc Rivers, that is. They double up on McHale. And they find Feasting.
Good pass by Dennis Johnson. Nothing came out of it, but...
Wilkins keeps it out in play. Good play by Willis. Dominique against DJ, and DJ will draw the foul.
DJ had no chance on that one.
Now, reminder that play that Kevin Willis made, this man is 7 feet tall, ladies and gentlemen. Now, watch this move. Look at this hustle. Just misses the end line behind the back.
He keeps right on going. And so he's a target for a pass just in case something untoward happens.
And you can understand why Mike Fratello has given Kevin Willis a starting opportunity, and he's responded admirably. Dominique with 2 rather off-target shots from the free throw line. Free throws being a big problem for the Hawks, only averaging 71% as a team this season. There's the double team again as the shot clock is down to 7. Seasting, 3-second violation. Now, they were anticipating a shot from Seasting, I believe, Bill, and that's why the 3-second violation came about.
But those big, tall shot blockers sort of make you say, well, maybe let me take a look around before I go ahead and do something foolish.
Of course, Seasting noted for his outside shooting, not his penetration. Willis battling inside against McHale. Now the double team by the Celtics. Let's see if the Hawks can move it as well. 4-3 on the shot clock. Rivers from long range can't find it. Parrish with another rebound. Larry Bird has it knocked away by Whitman. That's Dominique against Johnson. Parrish, good defense. And it's off with the leg of Dominique, knocked away by Larry Bird. Seasting with a bad pass. Good save. Bird, and McHale loses it.
Nobody wanted that ball. I will tell you. How many times did they drop it? 5 times?
I know it's hot potato for the last 20 seconds or so. And so the Hawks get a reprieve. 3:45 to go, first period. The Hawks lead by 2. You see the turnovers for both teams. Good block by Parrish, but Rivers gets it back. Parrish made him change it, and Dennis Johnson has Larry Bird on the right. Little 2-man game. DJ will get it.
You couldn't ask for 2 better guys to do a 2-man game than those 2.
It's tied at 22. 3 points for Dennis Johnson. It's the 5th tie of the ball game. Inside a mismatch, they had Johnson on Wilkins. Rivers from 19. McHale. Chance for the Celtics, 3 games to lead. Off the foot of Parrish. Good defense by Contact, who denied Parrish the spin opportunity. Danny Ainge is going to see his first action, and Spud Webb, the smallest man in the NBA, has come in.
Who's that?
And along with Livingston for the Atlanta Hawks.
Danny Ainge, I was talking to him before the game. He says he hates the guard Webb.
He is so quick.
Yes.
5'7". One thing for sure he could say about Spud Webb is that he is the best 5'7" basketball player in the world. And traveling against Whitman.
I think that's pretty safe, Rick.
Yes, I would think so. And we also put to rest the rumor that the only reason Spud Webb is on the team, that Mike Fratello wanted somebody that he could look down to, because Willis Reed put a book on both of their heads and the marble rolled towards Fratello. Another turnover for Boston as it's traveling against DJ. That's DJ has 5 assists. No, turnovers. That's the 8th turnover for Boston and 5 for Atlanta. 2:30 to go now here in the first period. Webb to Wilkins. Dominique.
That's a good way of getting an assist.
Dominique Wilkins.
Now with Danny Ainge.
Good weak side help by Contact.
Yes, real good. That timing was perfect.
Spud Webb. Count it. And the Boston fans cheering for Spud Webb. Now that is unbelievable. He creates so much excitement with his penetration abilities, and he can jump very well. He dunks the ball handily. Let's take a look from another end zone camera here.
Well, he says he's going to run past Danny Ainge there.
And McHale, a little late, didn't really get over to help out, and Spud Webb goes to the line with a chance to complete the 3-point play. which he does. And the Hawks lead by 5. They had led by 5 earlier in the period. Larry Bird looked like he could have been called for traveling. Livingston with the rebound. And Spud Webb. McHale made him change it, but Dominique is there. That's 12 for Wilkins. Still 1:45 to play. Murmurs from the Boston Celtic crowd. They cannot believe these Atlanta Hawks with a 7-point lead. Larry Bird will go to the line. That's the foul against Wilkins. Danny Ainge is going. Let's see who's going to the bench. It will be Dennis Johnson as Sam Vincent comes in for Boston, their first-round draft choice this season.
Now, if Danny Ainge is smart, he'll make Sam Vincent guard the little guy.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So you don't get tired chasing him.
One of those young guys on him, especially with that bad ankle that Ainge has that he's coming off, it makes it even doubly difficult to guard Webb. Boston, one of the reasons that they are trailing right now after having tied it at 22 is that in their last 6 possessions, they only got 2 shots off and 4 turnovers, so that's not the way to get points on the scoreboard. But this is the way to do it. Send that man to the free throw line. Larry Bird with 13 points here in the first period.
And I think the Atlanta defense has something to do with the fact that the Celtics threw the ball away. It wasn't just they were careless.
They're playing good defense.
Guys like Spud Webb, you got to take seriously.
Spud Webb from 15. Spud Webb has 5.
And Sam Vincent was on him, I noticed. And Ainge says enough already.
7-point lead for the Hawks. Webb against Vincent. Contact battles to keep it. And he throws it away. And somebody should have run to an open spot to give him an opportunity to throw the ball to them. Everybody seemed to be standing around. Eddie Johnson's into the ball game for the Hawks. One of the veterans along with Tree Rollins on this ball club. Wilkins goes for the steal, and he's almost paid a severe price. Livingston with the rebound has it knocked away by Vincent. Danny Ainge. Ainge cuts it to a 5-point lead for Atlanta. Final 50 seconds here of the first period. Spud Webb. Good pass to contact, who takes it home, foul Bird. And he does that as well as any guard in the league. Penetration, Spud Webb.
He's about twice as quick as any guard in the league.
It's probably true. Let's watch it again. It's a good screen. Drew 3 players to him, and Bird saw the pass coming, but was late getting over to help out. So the penetration move, working wonders. Another angle, as you see the excellent pass and the good strong move by John Concack. Bill Walton coming into the ball game to see action tonight. He missed the last ball game with the broken nose and the sore tooth. Robert Parrish gets a rest. Walton quickly gets a rebound. 7-point lead for the Hawks. Final 40 seconds of the first period. Kevin McHale. Bill Walton. There goes Spud. Count it if it goes. Again, the man can find the hole.
Well, Rick, what the guys were saying to me before the game, I was talking to Eddie Johnson and Danny Ainge, a bunch of guys while they're shooting around, is that he's so quick that, you know, most guys that get around, you can at least keep up with him to play him. He just runs off and leaves you.
I know Dennis Johnson said he hates having to guard him because he's so quick. And again, the free throws plaguing this Atlanta Hawk ball club, Bill. They, again, shooting only 71 from the line, and that's one of the areas of the game that really hurt them against the Boston Celtics in the 3 games that they've played, is their free throw shooting. They were really outscored badly by the Celtics from the free throw line in those 3 games that they have lost, and that could have been a big difference in those close ball games. Final 15 seconds now of this first quarter. 4-shot differential between the game clock and the shot clock. Larry Bird. Bill Walton again gets it back to Bird with 5 seconds on the shot clock and the game clock. Make it the game clock, and Bird has 15. Spud Webb with 2.
It did not take him very long to get up court.
No, and the Hawks got what Coach Mike Fratello wanted. They got an up-tempo game, and they wound up coming on top for the first 12 minutes of action as they lead 34-30.
In a recent independent test, new car shoppers compared Renault Alliance to Toyota Corolla. In riding comfort, Renault won. Driving ease, Renault won. In styling, comfort, and convenience, Renault won. In fact, Renault won over Toyota in 29 out of 30 categories. Renault Alliance, with 550 Plus, America's best small car protection. The one to watch, the one to watch, the one to watch. Renault.
This electronic timer will show how fast you can relieve sore throat pain.
My sore throat feels very red and hot.
Will you try Chloraseptic?
Sure.
Now watch the timer.
Oh, that's nice. That works really good.
With doctor-recommended Chloraseptic, relief is just seconds away.
My work at the bank is really a challenge. Every day is different, but it's always demanding. So when things ease up, I go for my Milky Way right out of the fridge. Relax, think about being outdoors later. Delicious.
You get the goodness of a quarter cup of milk in every bar. There's milk, natural cane and corn sugars, and thick, thick chocolate in a Milky Way bar.
I've loved Milky Way since I was a little girl.
A Milky Way day helps you work, rest, and play.
Rick Barry back with Bill Russell. You're looking at Dominique Wilkins, who had an outstanding first period with 12 points for the Atlanta Hawks, but he was offset by Larry Bird, who came up with 15 big ones. But the Hawks, well, they won the battle of the first period, leading by 4 points. And I think, Bill, that the Hawks are an exciting team to watch. The first chance we've had to do them this season.
They're fun to watch. They got Dominique as an exciting player, but their offense shows some creativity, and it's fun to watch. They get good penetration. They get penetration from a lot of different ways. Like Doc Rivers just pushing the defensive guard into the paint, for one thing. Then they get good post-up positions. They got a good front line.
Yes, they do. And they have some pretty young ladies here in Boston.
They came in here to get out of the cold.
Atlanta with that 60% field goal shooting percentage. You see how poorly they were doing on the free throw line. Again, we mentioned how that has been plaguing them all season long, as Scott Wedman has come into the ball game for Boston. Kevin McHale. Wilkins with the rebound, and he leads the break. First basket for Livingston inside.
He just acted like there was no defensive man there at all.
6-point lead for the Atlanta Hawks. Vincent.
Good move by Sam Vincent. Good penetration.
Spud Webb. And he's okay. A foul will be against Vincent. Watch the quickness of Spud Webb on this play. And Vincent gets him with the leg as they try to make the move to the basket. You see him catch him right there with that right leg. And they're giving him a shooting foul. Now that is just the opposite of what we thought before, I think, Bill.
You can tell it's a funny call because the referee is talking to Sam Vincent. You know, like, what are you complaining about? Well, usually when referees have a little questionable call, they don't want you to complain.
Scott Hastings seeing some action now for the Hawks as Dominique Wilkins gets an opportunity for some rest. Hastings averaging 4 points and 2 rebounds in the last 13 games for the Hawks and his duties off the bench. Spud Webb has 8 points. The Hawks by 6. Scott Wedman. That foul is on Eddie Johnson. And Scott Wedman, who had an opportunity to play a little bit more in the blowout of Cleveland the other night, had perhaps his best game of the season since opening night when we saw him play so well against the New Jersey Nets. He had 14 points against Cleveland, was shot 7 for 10.
He must enjoy going back to Cleveland now.
And Scott Wedman.
He was exiled from there.
He was exiled, that's right. He did play there for a while under the Ted Septian reign. And Scott Wedman, normally a career 80% free throw shooter, is now 18 for 35, just a little over 50% this season from the free throw line. And that's very strange. It's got to be a little lack of confidence there. A little mental problem on the part of Scotty Wedman. Hawks try to run a lot of two-man stuff, as they're trying to do it now with Konkak and Eddie Johnson. Eddie goes one-on-one and can't find the range, and Wedman battles inside, and the foul's going to be called on Livingston for hitting
Good
Wedman.
call. Because McHale had real good position on that rebound.
Mike Fratello has sent in Kevin Willis, coming in for Cliff. Livingston to the bench.
You know, it's an interesting matchup, Kevin Willis and Kevin McHale. It's two Kevins guarding each other.
Two big Kevins. Or we should say tall Kevins, at least. Shot clock goes inside of 10. Vincent over Konkak. Vincent with 4 points. Here comes Spud. Good pass to Hastings. Hastings comes with his first two, and Spud's penetration and passing is as good as a man who is a foot taller.
You know who he reminds me of with his penetration? Tanny Archibald.
Yes. He makes that real quick pass just at the last second.
And plus, he's coming at you at 100 miles an hour, and he's giving you motion, too. Side motion.
Parrish in for Kevin McHale. Three-pointer, Scott Wedman. Konkak was good position against Walton, comes away with it. And here comes the Spud man. Eddie Johnson. Walton kept it alive, but it goes to Hastings, who comes up with his second basket. And the Hawks lead by 7 again. 9:50 to go here in the second quarter.
And one thing I've noticed about the Hawks, good shot by Robert Parrish, is that a lot of teams come out very emotional and play the first quarter and then hold on emotionally. And they're not drained.
The 8th turnover.
Which is a good sign.
8th turnover for Atlanta. In that first period, Atlanta was 10 for 14 on their inside field goals attempts. Boston 7 for 11. That's one of the reasons that the Hawks had the lead. Danny Ainge. Shot clock is at 7. That's an offensive foul on Wedman, as Hastings had perfect position. So Boston comes up with another turnover. That's their 10th.
And again, the turnovers are caused by good defense, not just being careless.
Boston crowd a little quiet, usual for them. Of course, they're not used to seeing their Celtics crowd.
Konkak kind of ran over Sam Benson on that one.
And Spud Webb's basket will not count. Second foul against Konkak. Third team foul against the Hawks. Only one against the Celtics with 9 minutes to play here in the second period. Vincent doing an excellent job off the bench. He's got 6 points. Cuts it to a 3-point lead. No basket. Foul. Oh, it's a 3-second violation against Kevin Willis inside as Dennis Johnson comes back in along with Doc Rivers for the Atlanta Hawks. And obviously, Mike Fratello did not like the call.
That's a grimace. That's not a smile.
Mike, of course, the assistant for UB Brown, does a lot of coaching on the sideline. Scott Wedman.
There's got to be a foul on
no, they're calling it against Hastings. He can't believe it. He thought he had excellent position to keep Robert Parrish off. And he was starting to walk down the court, but the foul goes against Hastings. The fourth against the Hawks.
No, he pushed Robert about half a block.
Willis off the miss by Parrish. The Hawks trying to keep the up-tempo game going. Have not been as successful with it this quarter. There's that two-man game we talked about. Hastings set a screen. Wide open from 18 is Eddie Johnson, but he's a streak shooter, and he's not hot at this moment.
You know, Robert Parrish, Casey said he thinks Robert Parrish is playing the best basketball he's played his career this year.
Robert said he thinks one of the reasons is that he can play harder because he knows Bill Walton's there to come in for him if he were to get in foul trouble. Shot clock goes inside of 10 for the Celtics. That's 6, 4, 3, 2. That's a violation. It should be. The buzzer didn't go off. That should have been a violation. And finally, the officials pick up on it. There was a 24-second violation. Wally Rooney finally making the call, and the Celtic scorekeeper trying to do a little home cooking here. Didn't let the horn go off when the 24-second clock had expired. As it goes through Walton's leg, the clock was right then, at 0, and the horn did not go off, and Robert Parrish got a shot off, but Wally Rooney was right on top of it as Tree Rollins comes back in. And Richard Croker, our associate director, has said that since John Konkak is out of the game, this is now a non-contact sport. Now, I don't want to take credit for that, Bill. I'm giving credit where credit is due.
No, that's not credit, that's blame.
Okay. Larry Bird back in for Scott Wedman. So you've got Walton and Parrish at the front line along with Bird. Dennis Johnson, Sam Vincent in the backcourt. And Darryl Garretson saying that Scott Wedman has to come back in. Larry Bird cannot come back into the ball game until the next dead ball. And he'll be joined by Dominique Wilkins, who's sitting next to him on the floor right now because Mike Fratello wants to have that matchup working for him, Bird and Wilkins. Casey Jones trying to figure out why. We'll try and get a ruling on that for you. But anyway, Larry Bird and Dominique will remain there on the floor, and we'll resume action.
And so
Casey Jones,
John Konkak
will
go back in.
And Tree Rollins will also be waiting there.
Well, the referees made a couple of substitutions.
Well, I thought it was a dead ball because there was a 24-second violation, but they're ruling that they can come in, so not really a big issue. Johnson to Konkak, so Konkak has to be happy. He got 2 more points. He's got 4 now.
It's hard to score where Mike Fratello wanted him at that time.
Back up to a 5-point Atlanta lead. They led by 4 at the end of the first period. Now it's a 20-second timeout by the Boston Celtics. That will get Larry Bird back in.
Right. Now, I'll tell you, the Hawks are getting great penetration. Their guards and their forwards are getting in and making some of those passes. And if the Celtics are going to stop them, they got to cut down their penetration.
And they've changed it now to a full timeout with 7:17 to go here in the second quarter. It's the Hawks 44 and the Celtics 39.
Kelly fights for the rebound and looks for a home run. Tremendous play.
Where's Robinson? They're getting it out again. Here's Curtis all alone.
Wilkins on the base. Jump hook from 10. No good. Rebound tipped out. Saved on the court by Humphries. America's game. It's fantastic.
What's this, tough guy? Aftershave skin conditioner. I know. I thought I was the only guy with sensitive skin. Every time I shave, I get it right here.
What do you fellas use? Because shaving irritates my whole face.
After. Try it.
Looks different.
Oh, it's rich. It's a lotion. After soothes razor scrape sensitive skin.
Hey, this feels great. And smells good, too. Terrific.
Sensible care for sensitive skin. Aftershave Skin Conditioner.
By Menon.
As long as man has needed to cross the water, he has used sails of canvas to push him. Now, Jacques Cousteau, modern-day pioneer and explorer, sets out on a new adventure to change the way we sail the seas with a new breed of windship that could revolutionize oceanic travel. Be part of Jacques Cousteau's hand-picked crew for a marvelous and perilous journey across the Atlantic with the Riders of the Wind. 8:05 Eastern on the Superstation, Tuesday night.
And coming up this Sunday, the sports page, 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Nick Charles and Kevin Christopher will have a full wrap-up of the NFC and AFC title games and a look ahead to Super Bowl 20. And I'm waiting with bated breath for the return of Skip Carey and Carey's Corner. Hopefully for Christmas, somebody gave me some good ties.
Rick, there's no way Skip Carey can have a corner.
Oh, okay. That was Bill Russell who said that, Skip. Shot clock inside of 10 for the Celtics as Larry Bird hits from just inside the three-point area. He now has 17, his first points since he came up with 15 big ones in that first quarter. It's a 3-point lead for Atlanta. Bird battling against Wilkins as they double up. Good ball movement. And Doc Rivers comes
Makes
through
them
again.
pay.
6 points for Rivers.
They had to rotate one more man.
Robert Parrish. Very difficult to block a fadeaway by a 7-footer.
That's high arching.
Parrish off the Wilkins miss. 6:20 to go now in the first half. Shot clock down again inside of 10. Knocked away by Willis. Dennis Johnson and Willis collide. It's going to be Celtic ball. And the fans wanted a foul against Willis.
You mean just because they went over Dennis? But Dennis did not have the right of way, so.
We talked about the coaching. You can see what Mike Fratello does in the sideline. Very active. Larry Bird with 2 on the shot clock gets it to Parrish. Willis with the rebound. That's Eddie Johnson.
Fast Eddie Johnson.
And Eddie Johnson remains ice cold from the floor. Bill Walton with another rebound. Something he's done very well as a substitute for the Celtics. A kick by Rivers, a new 24-second clock for Boston.
Now, in that last play, just shows a little inexperience by Sam Benson. Dennis would have gotten that ball to Larry Bird about 2 dribbles earlier. But when you're young, you do things like that.
Bird has it knocked away by Tree Rollins. That's Wilkins.
I think he's going to go for it.
That's travel.
Good travel.
We remind you that at the conclusion of the game, Bill and I will select a Light Beer Most Valuable Player of the Game. And, of course, in conjunction with the award, Turner Broadcasting and Light Beer for Miller will present a check for $500 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in that player's name. But right now, we've got plenty of action left here in the second period, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. It's a 3-point lead for the Hawks. Parrish with that good spin move. Takes it home as Tree Rollins did not learn the lesson the first time. The Chief now with 10 points. Robert Parrish, along with his wife, has been studying Kung Fu, so watch out.
Well, you karate chopped the basket on that one.
Rivers, and that's a moving screen against Willis.
That's one of the things I've noticed about the Hawks. They learned that from Willis Reed. The big guys are setting moving picks.
Willis was a little notorious for that, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he moved it about a yard either way.
Both teams now tied with 12 turnovers. Chance for Boston to regain the lead. They only trail by 1 right now. Inside of 5 minutes to play. Seasting has come back in for Boston. Walton with another rebound. Parrish to Dennis Johnson. And DJ gives the Celtics the lead. It's our 4th lead change.
I used to hate that when you give him a good pass like that, and he dribbles once, and it takes away your assist.
22nd timeout for the Atlanta Hawks, and a reminder that this program is authorized under rights that are granted by the National Basketball Association solely for the entertainment of you, our audience, and any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the NBA is definitely prohibited. Boston has run off 8-2 to regain the lead, Bill, and I think things are certainly swinging in favor of the Boston Celtics right now. The Hawks seem to have lost that momentum that they had. As we'll watch that move again by Parrish and see Tree Rollins again playing over on the right side, giving him the baseline, Bill.
And his weight distribution is so high, there's no way he can react.
And
see, when you play defense, Rick, you got to have a low center of gravity. If you don't, that's what happens to you.
And what he did again is, you say he should back off, and he's up on him high, but he's up on him on the wrong side because Parrish likes to spin going to his right. So he's not only overplaying, but he's overplaying to his strength.
And he's paid for it.
And of course, yes. In this game, if you want to do anything defensively, is make the man beat you with his weakness. Inside of 10 on the shot clock for the Hawks. That hasn't happened very often. Willis. Kevin Willis.
A little help from
miss.
A little help from Robert Parrish. You got a piece of that.
Atlanta with 24 front court points, and Boston has 34.
Well, Larry Bird, with all those he's got, has helped a little bit. And Robert Parrish.
Tree Rollins keeps it alive. That's Wilkins. Whitman has come back in for the Hawks. That's Whitman with the ball right now. Rivers with a good job to screen Seasting off.
And he gets the free throw. If there's free throw, he gets a foul. Called on Seasting.
Second team foul against.
Well, that was a good move. What you do when you're going for a loose ball, you don't take a chance on outrunning the guy. You take a step in and make him run into you.
which is exactly what you saw there on the replay. It's a good move by Rivers. Walton to the bench as Kevin McHale comes back in, and you see 3 fouls against Seasting, and that will bring Rick Carlisle in for the Boston Celtics for his first tour of duty tonight.
The Celtics got some pretty good play out of a couple of their reserves, especially Sam Benson tonight and Bill Walton.
I'll tell you, the first 3 games, the Celtic reserves were outscored in every game, and very big in 2 of the games by the Hawks. So it's the experience of the starters for the Boston Celtics that has really been the difference in the first 3 games that these 2 teams have played. As Wilkins has it blocked by Paris. Bird has it knocked away by Wilkins. Wilkins gets it back, and Rivers comes through. So again, we have hot potato out there, and the Hawks come away with an easy 2. They lead again by 3. 3:20 to go now in the second quarter.
Interesting matchup, Kevin on Kevin down there in the baseline. Larry Bird makes that fill and void.
That's 19 for Larry Bird. Whitman drifting to the left, and that will cause a miss more often than a make, I can guarantee you that. DJ with a bowling pass to Carlisle. First 2 for Rick. Celtics regain the lead. Rivers gets it back. No, that's Willis, but he can't take it home. Good hustle by Willis, knocked out of bounds by, looked like Carlisle, but Wally Ruby calls a jump ball.
That's given to the Hawks.
And there's Willis missing that return opportunity. Let's see. Well, that was really tough. Kevin McHale was a good screen that time. We've got a timeout with 2:38 to go here in the second period. The Boston Celtics have regained the lead. They now lead the Hawks 51-50.
When you start something good, everyone wants a piece of it. Take light beer from Miller. Now there's lots of light beers out there saying they're less filling. Heck, that was the easy part. The hard part is brewing a light beer that tastes great. That's why Light's always brewed only with the finest ingredients. To let all that great beer taste come through for guys like you and me. The taste that's made light beer from Miller America's favorite light beer.
Hey, I always thought it was the easy opening can.
To John Kaiser, who had 6 grand openings in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the comforts of perks.
These are enough.
To Gary McKee, who had to laugh at the same joke 6 times, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
You've earned it.
And to Nell McCarran, who had to dress for success in 6 cities, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles.
I've earned it.
We make you feel like flying. Republic Airlines. We got what it takes, true value. We got what it takes.
You can make delicate repairs on jewelry, eyeglasses, and other intricate items with fingertip control by using the 6-piece precision screwdriver set featuring swivel handles. During January, it's just $1.99. Look for the True Value of the Month banner at participating True Value hardware stores.
We got what it takes, true value.
Coming up at the halftime, our feature will be on the young man you're watching tonight, Dominique Wilkins, the slam dunk champion. And, of course, that will be along with the Prudential Sports Update and the host, Bob Neal. So stay tuned for that. Coming up with 2 minutes and 38 seconds of action left here. The Boston Celtics have regained the lead. We've got a jump ball between the hustling Kevin Willis and Rick Carlisle. Now, Willis will control the tap. Let's see who controls the ball. Well, Rick Carlisle got the tap. And it's going to be Celtic ball. Good hustle by Dennis Johnson.
And Jim is stung for his effort. But that's the way it goes, Dennis. Make a good play, you got to pay.
Atlanta not shooting well in this quarter. We're only 41%. Celtics shooting almost 60%, 10 for 17. Shot clock down to 7 seconds for Boston. It's at 4. McHale off the DJ miss. Boston by 3.
I'll tell you one thing, the Hawks don't give them very much chance to rest if they make a basket or a miss. They get that ball up court as fast as they can in the league.
Well, Rivers, with that good penetration that he has, is able to get to the free throw line. Second foul against Dennis Johnson. Chance to cut it to a 1-point Celtic advantage. Talking about the bench scoring, again, the free throws plaguing the Hawks. The benches tonight, Atlanta 14 points off the bench and Boston 13. In the first game, it was 31-26 in favor of Atlanta. The second game, 49-19 in favor of Atlanta. And the third game, 43-10 in favor of Atlanta. And yet the Celtics won every one of those ball games. Inside of 2 minutes to play in the first half. That's Robert Parrish. He's got 12.
He says, will you get some other guards, please?
Outside shooting has really hurt the Hawks. They're only 1 for 7. Boston is 6 for 8 from outside in this period. A lot of stagnation here on the part of the Hawks. No movement whatsoever offensively. There's 9 seconds on the shot clock.
I'll tell you one thing I've noticed about the Hawks also, Rick, is that they have a team personality. And only the teams that are real good do they develop a personality of how they are as a team.
I'll ask you about that in a second. As Larry Bird off balance, Mikhail Willis comes away with it. That's Wilkins. It's 14 to Dominique. And another turnover for Boston as Larry Bird hits the deck. Whitman. Willis. McHale gets it out to Carlisle. Boston with a 4-against-3 opportunity. Tries to get it into DJ on the pass from Larry Bird. Knocked out of bounds by Glenn Rivers.
I know why Larry Bird passed that shot. That is one of the toughest shots you could ever hope to have to make.
48 seconds to go here in the first half. Boston leads by 2. Dennis Johnson. Carlisle. Rick Carlisle with 4 points off the bench. Back come the Hawks. Celtics are back very well, but Rivers challenges McHale and loses. Another rebound for Parrish. Back comes Boston. Bird to McHale. Foul. Tree Rollins.
You'll never see it done any better than this.
And just watch how Larry Bird, who gets a good pass from DJ, just changes the direction of the ball. He saw McHale coming, Tree Rollins with the foul, and that's why he's such a great player. Here's another look at it from a different angle. Boom, boom, and take that, fellas. And that's the way it should be done. It's like a clinic out here sometimes when the Celtics run the fast break, especially when you have Larry Bird involved. This contact comes back into the game for Tree Rollins. And it's a 6-point lead for Boston. A chance to get their biggest lead of the game as Kevin McHale now makes it 30 points that the Celtics have scored in this quarter. They had 30 in the first period. The Hawks had 34 in the first, and they have yet to score their 20th point here in the second period. So not a good quarter for the Hawks thus far, but they're still in it. If they can get a basket here with 10 seconds to go on the shot clock, they're certainly well within range. With 6 on the shot clock, that's Whitman. Back to Rivers. Rivers takes it home. Counted foul on Dennis Johnson. You can see why they missed him.
I don't think that's what the Dennis expected.
I don't think that's what a lot of people expected, Bill. I certainly didn't expect it. With a good fake, he gets 2 men out of position, Carlisle and McHale. Then he takes it home, and Dennis Johnson is challenged and pays the price. So Doc Rivers can cut it not to a 5-point differential, but a 4-point differential with 5 seconds to play here in the first half, and he does it. So the Hawks wind up now with 22 in the quarter. Dennis Johnson draws the foul against Rivers with 2 seconds on the clock, and Rivers can't believe it, nor can Mike Fratello.
That was not a good play.
He should not have challenged Dennis. He should have backed off, I thought. He was really not any kind of a scoring range. If he wants to throw it up from there, let him throw it up from that distance. So that gives a chance for DJ to put the Celtics back up front by 6 points if he could convert these 2. DJ with 5 points in the ball game. And it's a 5-point Boston lead. And pressure by the Celtics. There'll be no shot. We'll come to the end of the first half. And The Atlanta Hawks this time find themselves trailing after the first 24 minutes of action. The Boston Celtics came from 4 down at the end of the quarter to lead now 62-56. We're going to take a little pause, and then Bob Ney will be along with the Prudential Sports Update and the feature on Dominique Wilkins. And Bill and I will join you later.
Up court with Bradley on the left. A pass to Bradley. Jump shot, left side. Good!
Hi, I'm Senator Bill Bradley. As a graduate of Princeton and a Rhodes Scholar, I know the value of a college education. That's why I'm happy that the NBA is offering $50,000 in college scholarships to high school seniors. For further information, contact your local team or write to NBA Scholarships, 645 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10022. You don't have to be a basketball player to qualify.
Delta gets you there. To Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, and New York. Also service to all of Florida's major resorts. Delta also gets you to Europe, Hawaii, and the islands. In all, Delta serves more than 100 cities in the U.S. and overseas. Delta gets you there.
NBA Basketball, America's Game. Brought to you in part by Renault Jeep, official vehicles of the NBA.
The way you blew into town and looked all around, well, I knew right then that you were new. You looked so fine and you cut such a fine line that I knew what I had to do. So I'm keeping an eye on you. Keeping an eye on you. Watching every little thing you do.
There's a new truck on the road. It's called Comanche. It's built by Jeep. It's worth a look.
Big boy's got what it takes. Full tilt, all out, holy flakes. Nothing halfway, nothing sweet. Just a great big crunch of good whole wheat. Yeah, hey, banana, move aside. These big flakes got nothing to hide. Wheaties, Wheaties, good whole wheat. Now go tell your mama what the big boys eat.
This program is brought to you by the Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and financial services. The Prudential, the Rock. It's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob Neal with the Prudential Sports Update. Let's check in on some news around the league tonight. 2 NBA first-round draft choices have been traded. The Philadelphia 76ers have traded guard Leon Wood to the Washington Bullets for forward Kenny Green. Wood, a 6'3" guard, was the 76ers' first pick last year, and Green, the Bullets' top choice this year. Cleveland Cavaliers have lost forward Phil Hubbard for the year because of a torn ligament on his right wrist. Hubbard had been averaging 11.4 points per game. He'll have surgery early next week. Seems like only yesterday that Detroit Pistons head coach Chuck Daly was just sitting on top of the world. His team finished only a game out of the league lead for their division. He'd been courted by the Philadelphia 76ers. And as of tonight, Chuck Daly's on the hot seat in Motown. The Detroit Pistons have been struggling lately, to say the least. They dropped a 110-99 game to the Atlanta Hawks last night. That was 7 out of their last 8 games they lost, 11 out of 13. And much of the criticism of Detroit has centered around the belief that the Detroit Pistons have enough talent to be winning. But Daly says that's not necessarily the case, particularly on defense.
We've never been a good defensive club because we're not a good shot-blocking club. And if you're not a good defensive team and you're one of the in the lower echelon of shot blocking, then basically you're going to have a problem. In terms of personnel management, they have to make those kind of decisions. They decide whether the personnel is playing up to their potential or whether the coaches are doing the job. And that's something you have to live with in this profession.
And there may be more bad news just around the corner for the Detroit Pistons. A Detroit radio station, WJR, is saying that all-star guard Isaiah Thomas may have quit the team. The station quotes a usually reliable source as saying Thomas missed practice this morning, met with general manager Jack McCluskey, then said he was going to quit because he was fed up with it all. The station said Thomas couldn't be reached. However, a reporter for the Detroit News, Dave Dye, said he talked with Isaiah Thomas within the past hour. Thomas said, yes, it is true. He was frustrated with the season, particularly with last night's game with the Atlanta Hawks, that he did meet with Detroit management, but that, in fact, he would be in uniform for tomorrow night's game with the Detroit Pistons. We'll keep a close eye on that story. I guess you could say it just wasn't the Indiana Pacers night last night. They lost to the Sacramento Kings 88-87 at home. The Kings had won only 4 times on the road all year, and the Pacers lost despite an incredible 81-foot shot by Herb Williams at the halftime buzzer. Take a look at this. Great horse shot, huh? You're out of the game, buddy. Too bad it didn't come at the end of the game, by the way. Pacers scored only 10 points in the fourth quarter. When we continue with the Prudential Sports Update, we'll update you on the Goodwill Minute with Paul Ryden. Stay with us.
Choosing a life insurance policy can make anyone feel helpless. You're at the mercy of strangers. Your hands are tied. You feel pressured. But help is never too far away. With Prudential, your agent has the time to talk to you, listen to you, and work with you until you have a piece of the rock you're comfortable with. No wonder more people choose Prudential for life insurance than any other company. You'll feel right by the rock. Prudential Life Insurance.
The Goodwill Minute, the pageantry, competition, and the personalities of amateur athletics, and the promise of the Goodwill Games.
For years, Carol Lewis has been jumping in the shadow of her older brother, Carl. Not that being the sister of an Olympic gold medal winner is anything to hide, but Carol is a world-class champion, too. A member of the 1980 Olympic team at the age of 16 and the current American record holder in the indoor long jump. And she's been at it for 17 years, starting when, as children, she and Carl tagged along with their parents who had established a local track program for girls.
We'd end up in the sand pit every week, and we'd build these big, huge sand castles, and you'd run. And just like at the beach, you'd always like to smash it so nobody else could see it or nobody else could play with it because it was only yours. And we used to run down the runway and just jump in the sand and smash it.
And like castles in the sand, records are made to be smashed. Starting with the indoor track season opener next week and leading up to the Goodwill Games in July, Carol Lewis may yet find her own moment in the sun.
Tomorrow night on the Goodwill Minute, at halftime of our ball game, Paul Ryden will report on the story of a world-class wrestler and his coach who motivates the youngster from the confines of a wheelchair. Let's have a look at scores around the NBA now. First of all, the Los Angeles Clippers at the New Jersey Nets in the third quarter, 75-73 New Jersey. Sacramento leading Philadelphia 65-58. That also in the third. In the second quarter, Dallas leading Phoenix. In the first, it's San Antonio by 15 over Golden State. And just underway, Portland, Milwaukee at 10:30 tonight. Indiana will be at the LA Lakers. And just a moment, when we return, we'll have another showing of the human highlight film. You don't want to miss it.
Sure. Find the holes in your homeowner's insurance before they find you.
Sorry to barge in.
Have a Prudential representative give you a fast, free Pru review of your coverage.
Are we covered? If you had a Pru review, you'd know.
Get a Pru review from the Prudential and get a piece of the rock.
Doesn't look like Bermuda to me.
Portions of this halftime have been brought to you by the Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and financial services. The Prudential, the rock. It's strong. It's on the move. It's bigger than life.
Gatorade Thirst Quencher presents the 1986 Slam Dunk Coming Attractions.
If they'd make a movie about slam dunks, it would be called Dominique Wilkins, because I am the human highlight film.
In the NBA galaxy of star dunkers, Atlanta's Dominique Wilkins earns top billing. Wilkins' amazing body control has led to the most awe-inspiring dunks ever witnessed, making the reigning slam dunk champion the man everyone will be gunning for.
It's a hot one out there today as Peterman starts his engine. The field is wide open.
Gatorade is thirsty.
Dombrowski picks up speed and breaks away.
Gatorade is thirsty.
Here's that Evans showing some hustle against the youngsters.
When you exercise, you lose potassium, fluids, minerals. Gatorade Thirst Quencher helps put them back fast.
That's why the pros drink it. It's Thirst Aid.
Gatorade is Thirst Aid for that deep down body thirst.
And the crowd goes wild.
NBA basketball, America's game. Brought to you in part by Honda. See the Accord LXI hatchback at your local Honda dealer.
If you saw the first half of tonight's game and the performance by Dominique Wilkins, you know it's difficult to describe him or his moves. Maybe it's best to think of him as Saturday morning's greatest superhero.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
Well, almost. But on the basketball floor, Dominique Wilkins is truly superhuman. His soaring slams and devastating dunks give credibility to his nickname, the human highlight film.
I'm out there, I like to have fun. A lot of people just like to get out there and just look at it as a job or just go to work. But I like to have fun in what I do. I like to get the people around me involved, and I think the best way to do that is do something exciting.
Wilkins first tested his theory at the University of Georgia, where he electrified the Southeast Conference and single-handedly put the Bulldog basketball program on the map.
He established a foundation for Georgia basketball. He gave us credibility because he was in our first signing class. We had an excellent class, and he was probably the most highly touted player that Georgia had recruited.
I wanted to go to school where I can help build a program. I didn't really want to get into the thing of being compared to everybody. And by going to Georgia, I had no one to compare to, so we kind of built that program up when I went there.
Wilkins' credentials as a franchise maker caught the eye of the Utah Jazz, who had the third pick of the '82 draft.
Dominique Wilkins, University of Georgia.
Ironically, Wilkins would never play for Utah and was traded to the Atlanta Hawks, back in the state of Georgia.
Atlanta was trying to go to a youth thing at that time, and they thought that was a great opportunity for them to try to get me out of Georgia. Even though I went to school here, they thought that would be a good situation fan-wise, and they wanted a young small forward, and it worked out for me.
By trading for Wilkins, the Hawks gained the superstar they had lacked for years.
Well, Dominique is our cornerstone. He's our Larry Bird, our Julius Erving, our Magic Johnson, our Sidney Moncrief to our franchise.
Regarded primarily as a scoring machine, Wilkins has steadily improved his rebounding and defensive skills, hoping to silence his critics. However, Dominique is beyond compare when it comes to his specialty, as witnessed during the 1985 Slam Dunk Championship.
It was more or less like a mini vacation, but at the same time, everybody was out there competing and trying to win. When I went on the court, I was saying, well, I have to do something, different. I wanted to do something that really to get the crowd on their feet. So what I did is I just ran and just took off, and when I got in the air, it just happened. I think it was a windmill, something like that, a double windmill, and that's what really got me going. And after that, it was like easy from there.
It's not easy being a Superman in a league of superstars, but Dominique Wilkins is well on his way.
We're here at the 18th hole of this Light Beer Open, and we've seen some real unusual shots today.
You said it.
Hey, Bob, I think you got a birdie.
Elsie, how am I supposed to hit it through this tree?
No problem, Bert.
How's Yuka going to get out of this one?
That calls for another light beer from Miller.
Make it 2,
3,
4. It's a good thing light's less filling.
Back to you, Ricky.
John, the last player's approaching the tee.
And when it goes to 100, you sell. I won't be long, girls. Hold my calls, will you? It hit the weather vane. It's in the drain. Here it comes out. It's going on the green. Goes in the hole.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
This open ought to be closed.
Well, they're raring to go in Boston. Let's go back to Rick and Bill.
Thank you very much, Bob, and we're going to be back with the start of the second half in just a moment.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the armed forces. It's a great place to start.
Is this the key to your car? If so, consider the Honda Civic DX hatchback. It's full of space. The key is its long lines and innovative engineering. It keeps you from feeling packed in. Even the rear seats slide back and recline. You know, this small car is so big, it's simply uncanny.
Bill, in that first half, it seemed as though the Hawks were not really able to maintain that up-tempo that they were able to initiate in that first period.
Yes, but they were able to maintain their poise, which was more important, because in keeping from getting blown out in games, when the other team is playing well and things not going your way, if you don't maintain your poise, you look up, you're 12, 14 points behind. As it is, they're 6 points behind and right in the middle of this ball game. They'll have to be careful to start the second half up.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the Hawks are an improved ball club, because they are able to maintain their poise, whereas in the past they have not been able to. You can see the Hawks shooting is down now to 50%, but that's still very respectable. The Celtics, 56.5%, and the free throws, again, we mentioned that quite frequently, plaguing the Hawks at only 61.5%. Relatively close in the rebounding, and I just would think that what came back to haunt the Hawks in the first half, Bill, was sort of like deja vu in the first three games. It was the outside shooting of the Celtics that caused them problems, as you'll take a look at the scoring leaders for both teams. And Atlanta shot only 11% from the outside, 1 for 9 in the second period after 45% in the first. And Boston shot 45 in the first, but they shot 75% from the outside in that second period to regain the lead. Got the same starting lineups for both ball clubs. Johnson can't find the range, kept alive by Rollins, and Willis came away with it. Kevin Willis. Another rebound for Robert Parrish. Parrish had 8 rebounds in the first half. Rivers off the miss by Larry Bird. Wilkins blocked by McHale. DJ finds Seasting wide open. And Seasting finds the basket. Something
he's reached their shooting so well. They get good passes, you got a good rhythm, and you had a chance to square yourself up, and easy shot. Now the Hawks, if your team shoots 75% on the outside first half, or first quarter, or second quarter, and you're still only 6 points behind, you're pretty good shape.
Shot clock down to 7 now for Atlanta. And that's Doc Rivers. Rivers now with 14.
He has been key in the turnaround for the Hawks.
Robert Parrish, double teamed by Rivers, and they're called for traveling. That's the 15th turnover now for the Boston Celtics. Atlanta with 12. We've played a minute and a half here in the third period. Boston still with that 6-point advantage. And there are the points off of the turnovers of these ball clubs.
And another good moving pick by Kevin Willis.
Off of his own foot. Fortunately, he goes back to Rivers, and Whitman is wide open. Parrish with his 10th rebound of the ball game. Three-pointer, Dennis Johnson counted. Nobody was moving, nobody played him, so he said, why not? DJ now with 10 points. Whitman has Bird on him as there was a switch because the screen was set by Wilkins. 5 on the shot clock as Rivers miscues again. And Robert Parrish with 11 rebounds. Kevin McHale. 2 players on him, and they still couldn't stop him. Kevin McHale now has 11 points in the ball game, and the Boston Celtics are going to get a chance to talk things over because the Atlanta Hawks have taken a timeout. 9:27 to go in the third period. and Boston has increased their lead to 11.
Where I come from, folks stand proud and tall. You know they're always sincere. It's where your word is your word. A friend's a friend, and Miller's a beer. Miller's made the American way. Born and brewed in the USA.
Miller beer contains no additives, no preservatives.
Miller's made the American way.
A fine wine is a perfect balancing of taste. So is a fine dinner. Le Menu. Each Le Menu has 3 carefully orchestrated foods, like beef sirloin tips in mushroom and wine gravy, seasoned O'Brien potatoes, and broccoli with cheddar cheese sauce. Le Menu frozen dinners from Swanson. So extraordinary, you dare serve them with a vintage wine.
On the court, I've been voted most valuable player a couple times. But now let me introduce you to another MVP, Dr. David Faxon, an American Heart Association researcher. You know, thanks to research, heart-related deaths have declined. Doc, tell us what you're doing.
Well, Larry, we're working on alternatives to bypass surgery, such as the balloon technique.
The American Heart Association. We're fighting for your life.
Dave, you can play on my all-star team anytime.
In that case, just call me the doctor.
Doctor who?
There's a man we've been talking a lot about with the work that he's done with the front court people, the big man on the Atlanta Hawks, Willis Reed, a former great player for the New York Knickerbockers, and we do apologize for some of the technical problems that we've been having. As you see, the Boston dominating in that front court scoring, and the Atlanta Hawks only have Dominique Wilkins with double figures in scoring. Boston has 3 people in double figures. That's Tree Rollins. Willis battles inside for position. They're going to call a foul as he kind of bogarted Seasting out of the way. Willis draws the foul. 3 personals against Kevin, and Mike Fratello is beside himself. He remembers the controversial 5-point play that they had the last time they played up here in Boston Garden when his team was right in the game with the Celtics. They called that breakaway foul that's rarely called in the NBA and turned into a 5-point play for Boston. Larry Bird, excellent move with the left hand. Rivers to Willis. Back to Whitman. Nice play by Willis on a hustle, and Whitman to be in the right place at the right time. Whitman has 8. Seasting to Johnson from 16.
Rick, that's the easiest outside shot you can get.
And it's off of good movement on the part of the guard. He penetrated in, created a problem. Wilkins comes right back for Atlanta. That's 16 for Dominique, his first 2 points of the second half. 8:15 to go here in the third quarter. Knocked away by Wilkins. Livingston into the ball game for the Hawks. That will send Rollins to the bench, move Willis to the center position. Boston Celtics still continuing with that hot shooting they made their last 5 attempts. Make it 6. As Kevin McHale now comes up with his 12th and 13th point. 8 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Boston with their biggest lead of the ball game. Fans wanted traveling. 6 on the shot clock. Rivers loses the handle. It goes back to Livingston. 1 on the shot clock. Wilkins over Parrish.
Now they just stayed with that. They came up with, they threw the ball away twice, still came up with a basket.
That's 18 for Dominique. Back to that 11-point lead that the Celtics had. Johnson can't get Rivers, and he takes it home.
Now, Seasting ran right into each other on that play.
16 now for Doc. Cuts it back to a 9-point lead for Boston. This has happened in their other ball games. The Celtics will get out to a lead, and then they'll give it up as they call a foul inside. Garrettson calls it on Rivers, as Spud Webb will enter the game for Atlanta. Much the last play from the steal there as Johnson can't handle the pass, and Rivers just blows right by Dennis Johnson and comes away with the easy 2. We're back to live action now. Again, the double team on McHale, and he finds DJ open again, and DJ delivers once again. 14 for Dennis.
And when the Celtics are hitting that outside shot, they are tough. Because McHale is one of the most difficult guys in the league to guard.
Well, they shot 75% from the outside in the second quarter. They've made 7 in a row right now here in the third period.
And that foul's going to be on Larry Bird, I think.
You think correctly?
Celtics foul was on number 33, Larry Bird.
He got there late. Defensively.
Personal foul, first of the team.
Spud created a lot of opportunities for the Hawks in that first period. I think he helped them with their up-tempo game, and he really didn't see any action there in the second period, or not much. That two-man game again, and Wilkins can't drop from outside, loses the handle on the ball. And Dominique, if he has one weakness, Phil, I'd have to say it's his outside shooting, and I think he's shooting just a little bit outside of his range on that last attempt especially. Spud hits the
and
deck.
then he has a hard time sometimes when he has to put the ball on the floor. Who's that foul?
Foul was on number 53.
That was
Second personal foul.
Livingston, a second personal foul, holding inside against McHale as they battle for position. Again, Dennis Johnson is found open from McHale. They say no basket. They're going to call a foul. Larry Bird called for an offensive foul. Third personal against Larry Bird.
I didn't see that play at all.
Well, Larry was battling to go to the offensive glass, and he, I think, just kind of threw Spud Webb out of the way. And that doesn't take much of a throw when you only weigh about 135 pounds. Wilkins with a very creative move indeed. 20 points. 9-point Celtic advantage. 5:40 to go here in the third period. Again, McHale to Johnson.
And again,
and the McHale-Johnson connection is working very well. And they even had one taken away. That's 16 now for DJ.
And big steps. Now, this is real important next 3 or 4 minutes for the Hawks. They've got to get the tempo more to their liking.
Also have to hope that the Celtics start missing a few shots. Celtics are red hot from the outside. It's going to be Boston ball. They have 13 seconds on the shot clock. And McHale mishandles it. John Concack will be coming back into the ball game.
We call McHale for mishandling, but when you're almost a 7-footer and you get a pass around the ankle,
well, that was not exactly with the real buddy pass. I mean, the buddy pass is off the ankles. That was up around knee level. I think Kevin was a little busy trying to bogart his way into the basket a little bit, and he really wasn't in the best position to handle the pass.
Well, you know, if you watch guys like Kevin McHale and Kareem, who are two of the best position players in the league, half of their offense is based on their getting the position that they want.
Livingston knocks it away, but it goes back to DJ, and Spud Webb is in there creating havoc. Watch out. Willis, who had his head up rim level, takes it home. He's got 6.
To play the inside position, the posting up, position is the most important. The initial position is the most important because then you can do things to the defensive man. But if he can make you get a foot away from your shooting range and you got to adjust to then, and you're not nearly as accurate as a shooter.
That's Kevin McHale. He continues the torrid pace that the Celtics have shown offensively. They want a delay of game warning, and Wally Rooney's counting for a 5-second violation, and Spud Webb wisely jumped out of bounds to throw it in as Mike Fratello continues to yell at Wally Rooney.
Actually, he was yelling at Doc Rivers that tell him what play to use.
Boston?
I think he's giving up on talking to Wally Rooney.
Wilkins with an excellent move. Livingston, loose ball foul. Now Concack comes into the ball game. And there's a technical foul against Livingston.
You could see that coming out on Causeway Street, Rick. That's the street.
Runs near the garden, yes.
Just thought I'd let you know that I know this place.
I would hope so. I'd be a little worried about you. Seasting shooting the technical free throw.
I watched the game last night, Rick, and I saw the guys miss 3 technical fouls, I believe.
Well, that happens a lot. Like you say, it's a tough shot.
Doesn't make sense.
You think it's a tough shot. I agree. I think that's the toughest of all the free throws. Great pass inside the bird from Dennis Johnson.
And a great shot, too.
That's 10 for 12 the Celtics are now. They've made 10 shots in a row offensively, and the Hawks take a timeout. The biggest lead of the game for the Boston Celtics. They now have a commanding 14-point advantage with 3:41 to play in the third period.
These January Best Buys. I mean, 2 ever-ready flashlights and 4 batteries for $227.
It's a good deal.
A slimline folding chair for $588.
Comfy, too.
A more silicone tub cloth for sealer, $1.50.
Another good deal.
But the $1.50 rebate means this Best Buy is
a very good deal.
And easy, too, with the Ace Helpful Hardware credit card.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware man. This world calls for good times. This world calls for sharing. And this world calls for love.
Lowenbrau, the only beer brewed in the great beer drinking countries.
Brewed in Munich. Brewed in England.
Sweden.
Canada.
Japan.
And here in America.
For 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
Lowenbrau.
A reminder for our next telecast of NBA action here on the Superstation. Tomorrow night, the 76ers against the Pistons at 8:05 Eastern Time. Skip and John will bring you the action of that game, and they will keep a close watch on a story that's developing in Detroit. Bill, there's been a lot of talk that Isaiah Thomas has gone in to talk to Jack McCloskey, the general manager. He's very upset with what's going on, and supposedly he's mentioned even the possibility of quitting.
Well, he is one of the most intense competitors in the league. He doesn't look like he has that baby face, but he's very serious about basketball, and I think he's a little frustrated because they are playing bad basketball right now.
Well, you see the outstanding shooting percentage on the part of the Celtics. Konkak inside. Walton, who's come into the game, picks up the foul. And tomorrow night, if you stay tuned for the game, I'm sure that Skip and John will be on top of that story and give you an update. Let's watch that last move inside by the first-round draft choice Konkak.
Now, Walton is completely out of position. I mean, he was way out of position. I mean, there's no way he could play defensive way. His back was half turned, and I don't know how he got there, but it's the wrong place to be.
Well, one of the few times you'll see Bill Walton faked out that badly.
That was a result of bad footwork on that particular play, because he's a good defensive player.
Young Konkak gets a good bounce that time. Konkak having his toughest time defensively, used to playing the zone defense, has been working very hard on playing tough man-to-man defense, a tough transition to make. That's Kevin McHale. 17 for McHale. Hawks having a difficult time continuing with the up-tempo pace that they established in the first period when they had a 4-point lead. Eddie Johnson has come into the game for the Hawks. Webb to Konkak from 16. Walton kept it alive, and DJ takes it away. Good ball movement. Jerry sees what happens. 5 for Seasting. Fans wanted double dribbling.
Should have got something.
Atlanta and Boston both have 19 break opportunities and 21 points, and the Hawks cannot just keep pace. They've got to try and dominate in that area. Spud Webb gets inside.
Oh, did he give Seasting a couple of little moves there?
Well, I tell you, Boston, Bill, 12, consecutive field goals they have made here in the third period. Johnson was fouled by Johnson.
Johnson, hey.
We have a lot of Johnson and Johnson connections in the NBA. That one was
not like it
Eddie.
used to be, though, Rick. At one time, there were 25 of them.
Atlanta foul was number 3, Eddie Johnson.
That's the first foul against Eddie Johnson.
So you can have two Johnsons foul.
Third foul.
Penalty situation.
Board is correct. Second personal and 5 team fouls against Atlanta. 2:03 to play here in the third quarter. Only 2 team fouls against Boston, but they'll only have 1 more before the penalty for Atlanta when we go into that 2-minute period.
Now, Atlanta is not getting the penetration they had the first quarter. When they were playing so well, and they got 34 points, they got great penetration. Now, the Celtics have made some adjustments, obviously, defensively, but they're not getting the penetration. Plus, offensively, their tempo is down about 20%.
Shot clock goes down inside of 10 for Atlanta. That's Bud Webb. Ball. Minute and 35 to play here in the third period. Casey Jones is going to call a timeout with a minute and 32 left to play in the third period. His Boston Celtics have cruised out to a 16-point lead. We'll be back with the final 132 of the third period in just a moment.
I'm Dr. J, and this is my good rival, Kevin McHale. Kevin, you've got to see the great stuff they have inside this official 1986 NBA catalog. You look at these game uniforms from McGregor.
Hey, Julius, they have official starter jackets.
And everything in the NBA catalog comes in all 23 team colors.
Hey, Julius, there's even a Lakers sweatshirt and pants.
Now, haven't we seen enough of them?
Can anyone get a catalog?
Sure, just send $1 to NBA Catalog, P.O. Box 800 800, Seattle, Washington, 98108. And you can get pro caps from Sports Specialties. Even a Spalding game ball. So remember, send $1 to NBA Catalog, P.O. Box 800 800, Seattle, Washington, 98108. Your dollar will be credited to your first order. Send for your catalog today.
Say, Julius, they have sizes to fit short guys like you?
Yes, Kevin. Sizes to fit everyone.
Rick Barry back with Bill Russell. And Bill, I think one of the problems the Hawks have is that the Boston Celtics are so good at knowing when to move the basketball, and the Hawks like to double down, especially on people like McHale, and Kevin is doing a masterful job of starting ball movement, and the Celtics are getting such good open shots. It's no wonder that they're shooting such a good percentage. I mean, even though it is kind of incredibly high.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it'd be better defensively to play a guy like McHale one-on-one. They're not stopping him anyway. They just make the guy that's guarding him have to pay for it. But over a period of 4 or 5 minutes, you might come out ahead.
Let's take a look at what Kevin McHale has been doing.
He's so tough inside because he gives you fakes. Nice little hook shot. And he has a good jumper going either way. But he and Elijah One have the same kind of moves, only Elijah One does it about 25% quicker.
And Boston controlling the boards. Shot clock is down to 6. Livingston has come back in. Larry Bird with 2 on the shot clock.
Good throw, Larry.
25 for Larry Bird. 13 consecutive field goals for the Boston Celtics here in the third quarter. Johnson to contact, and it's knocked out of bounds by the Celtics. The biggest lead of the ball game right now, 18 points. Remember, though, Boston was up 18 in our first game of the season against New Jersey, and they wound up losing. Of course, that was on the road.
And that was New Jersey.
Battle has come into the ball game for the Hawks and throws up a air ball. Hastings in also for Atlanta. Hastings yelling, saying, McHale, he's holding me. Johnson tries to get it to Walton. Hastings touches it, knocks it out of bounds. There you see him talking.
Bill Walton's one of those guys, Rick, that he plays about 4 or 5 minutes, and then he gets desperate need for a shot. And if he doesn't get one, it creates problems for him.
Well, DJ has certainly warmed up on his outside shooting. He's got 20 points now.
And so DJ was trying to get the ball to him so that he could...
He's got 13 here in the third period. Final 35 seconds coming up here in the third period.
Take care of that knee that he had. Larry called steps on that one. Good defensive play by Bird. Blind side of Eddie Johnson and made him take steps.
And it's another Celtic 10-2 run.
That third quarter, the Hawks need to be careful about it. It didn't work out for him.
DJ a little too far out that time, but McHale was there. And the foul is going to be on Hastings, who had the unenviable task of keeping McHale off the glass.
Now, the difference between that shot that Dennis missed and the ones he made before, he didn't have to move before. He didn't have to dribble, put the ball on the floor to get that shot. The other ones were direct from passes. And this is like going one-on-one, which is a different shot altogether, as you probably know better than anyone, Rick.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. One thing about it was I really felt that it was a little bit too far outside of his range to take it from a standing position. Even though he made that one three-pointer, I would let Dennis shoot that shot all night long. Kevin McHale has 6 rebounds to go along with his 18 points. And the consecutive outside streak of the Celtics ends at 14 consecutive field goals here in the third period. It's one of the reasons why they have a 21-point advantage. Final 10 seconds now of the third quarter. Hastings. Nice move. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Bird will get it off. Contact made him change it. And that was right on line, just a little long. The last shot, no good. But the Boston Celtics have really turned it on here in the third period. And I guess at first glance, it looked like it'd be a close game. At second glance, it doesn't look like it's going to be all that close. We'll see what happens. We've got 12 minutes left.
Civic hatchback. Fall in love without paying the price.
We're not a company.
But outstanding people come to us every day.
People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts.
People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual.
People who will become your friends for life. People just like you.
We're not a company.
We're your country.
We're the Navy.
The Air Force.
The Marines.
The Army.
We're the armed forces.
It's a great place to start.
Girl, I've got a secret. See if you can guess. Before the night is over, there will be no doubt. Yeah, you find out. Oh, building start to shake. I do what the food thing. Ooh, my secret. Ooh, sparks get fire. Lightning in the sky. Oh, my secret.
America's game. It's fantastic. NBA Basketball, America's Game, brought to you in part by Honda Automobiles.
Well, Bill, I think it's a difficult task that the Atlanta Hawks have confronting them at this juncture.
It's been done before. I think the Celtics, in one of their games with the Knickerbockers, had a 25-point lead and got a little careless.
Yes, Merry Christmas to the New York Knicks, that was, yes.
And so it's possible. I wouldn't count on it.
Celtics have won 6 games in a row here in Boston Garden. They've only lost 1 game. They're 15-1 here. And the Hawks can't do it if they allow the kind of shooting the Celtics had in the third quarter. Boston was 7 for 7 inside, 7 for 11 from the outside. And Atlanta, well, they were only 2 for 8 from the outside, so they continued with their woes of shooting from the outside. You see, we've got Eddie Johnson, Cliff Livingston, Hastings, battle and contact for Atlanta. Robert Parrish is back in with Walton and Bird in the front line, and Sam Vincent is in with Seasoning for Boston. Walton off the miss.
Good outlet.
Shot clock goes inside of 10 for Boston. Larry Bird off a good screen from Walton. Bird with 27. Assist to Jerry Seasting. Hastings. Larry Bird limping a little bit. He collided with Robert Parrish, and Robert Parrish is limping a bit. But I don't think severe for either one. There's a good ball movement we talk about for the Celtics. And Seasting can't find the target. Livingston with the rebound for Atlanta. Atlanta trying to get that up-tempo game going. Eddie Johnson continues ice cold from the outside. Bill Walton got hungry again.
You need that shot anyway. Even if you don't make it sometimes, you need it.
Every player likes to be a little part of the offense occasionally. Some more than others. Ace things off the contact miss. Dominique and Spud Webb will be coming back in for the Hawks on the next dead ball.
Give them a little offense because they're not.
And Battle gets a nice roll that time. John Battle, rookie out of Rutgers, his first 2 points of the ball game. Parrish, excellent position against contact, no help from the weak side, and Robert Parrish with 14 points.
Too little, too late from the weak side.
First 2 points of the second half for Robert Parrish, who had 12 at halftime. 9:50 to go in the ball game. Big 19-point lead. Livingston with traveling. Here comes Dominique and Spud. Now, Bill, you talk about a personality being developed for Atlanta in the first half. What kind of a personality have they developed?
Well, they're developing, it's not showing in the second half, but as a team, first of all, you can see the confidence in the players so that they can go out and execute their game plan. And it takes a personality. You have to have confidence in yourself. And you have to be able to joke about yourself and be relaxed because sometimes it doesn't work, and you got to realize why it doesn't work and to stick with it. And so it takes a strong personality, almost a dominant personality. And the things that they worry about are different than teams that don't have personality.
Spud Webb with the foul, and the Hawks obviously struggling a bit in this ball game to maintain that personality that Bill's been talking about as Scott Wegman comes into the ball game for Larry Bird, and Willis is in for the Atlanta Hawks. The old thumbs down for the Celtics. Did you have that play, Bill? What is that? Well, it's not supposed to be a steal by Wilkins. Watch out.
That's the wrong play. Thumbs up next time.
22 for Dominique. That's a 17-point Boston lead. Coming up on 9:05 to go in the ball game. One thing the Hawks will not do is they will not give up. They have fought back against the Celtics on 2 occasions to make it a very close game going down the last minute or 2.
That's because they have not lost their poise, which is important.
Scott Webben off balance, contact, and the foul is going to fall on Robert Parrish. First foul against Robert, and that's got to be the first time I can remember since doing the game in 2 years now that Robert Parrish, it was 8:52 left in the ball game, picked up his first foul.
That is a little unusual for the Chief.
Danny Ainge coming back in for Jerry Seasting, and Kevin McHale will send Bill Walton back to the bench. Good shot of Kevin. Perhaps one of the best senses of humor, best sense of humor that I can remember of a lot of the Celtic players. They always seem to be very serious. Kevin, very funny guy. I know you like his humor, Bill.
Oh yeah, he's a great guy.
And that's contact and a good move inside.
Because he doesn't take himself very seriously.
8 for contact. The Boston Celtics have decided to take a timeout with 8:34 to go in this ball game. The Atlanta Hawks have chipped away just a bit at that Boston lead. They trail now by 15.
Winning's easy. Give 110%, expect 110%. From yourself, everyone, everything. Speed Stick deodorant gives 110%. That's its edge. Why? It has no alcohol, and alcohol evaporates. Speed Stick protection doesn't evaporate even after 24 hours. Glides on in just a few strokes. That's 110% protection.
Speed Stick deodorant, the wide stick.
That's your edge.
Fine men. This world calls a good time.
From London
This world calls for sharing them now.
to Stockholm
This world calls
to
for
Tokyo. Lowenbrau, the only beer brewed in the great beer drinking countries.
Brewed in England.
Sweden.
Canada.
Japan.
And here in America.
For 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer.
This world calls
If you didn't care about the picture, you wouldn't take the shot. At least that's how Eckerd Drugs sees it. That's why Eckerd gives you 2 photo guarantees on Ultralab 35 and System 2. Guarantee 1. If you aren't happy with any print, you don't have to pay for it. Guarantee 2. If your prints aren't back when promised, they're free. So if you cared enough to take the shot, take the film to Eckerd. One drugstore is better than the rest. Eckerd.
Coming up tomorrow, television's fastest half hour. That's Motor Week Illustrated, 5:35 p.m. Eastern Time. That's tomorrow on Saturday. And host Dave Despain will take a look at the United States Auto Club Midgets as they'll be racing at the Hoosier Invitational inside the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. So join Dave Despain for Motor Week Illustrated tomorrow, 5:35 Eastern Time, right here on the Superstation. 8:25 to play here in the ball game. The Hawks, after getting off to a 34-30 lead in the first period, have seen the Celtics at their best. Kevin McHale has been one of them. McHale with 20 points. The Spudman. Spud Webb.
Kevin McHale hadn't landed good before the Spud Webb was on the way to the hoop.
That's 12 for Spud. Vincent comes up short. Webb crashes into him after the shot. And we asked Sam at halftime, say, hey, what's it like to guard him? He says, hey, that guy's too little to be guarded. Too little and too fast.
I bet you Sam never thought he'd say that coming to this league, that he'd say there's a guy too little to guard.
Larry Bird back in for Scott Wedman. So Casey Jones really not taking any chances here with his team with a 15-point advantage. He knows what the Hawks are capable of doing, and as I mentioned before, they've done it on 2 different occasions against the Celtics.
He also knows what the Celtics are capable of doing.
Like giving Christmas presents away.
Yeah.
Yes, they have done that on numerous occasions, at least 3 that we can recall. Dennis Johnson will be coming back in as well for Vincent on the next edge ball opportunity. So Vincent has 8 points, playing a good game tonight in his role off the bench. John Battle. And Robert Parrish with yet another rebound. Ainge finds Parrish.
And Parrish loses the handle. How's that for a cliche?
Willis. Webb has it blocked by Vincent. Willis can't get it, and Parrish is there again. Robert Parrish with an outstanding effort tonight on the boards. 13 rebounds for the Chief. Vincent blocked that last shot of Webb's, and he never jumped. But Webb returns the favor. Takes it away.
Only Webb jumped.
Wilkins.
Oh, well, that's ball control.
24 for Dominique Wilkins. He'll be defending his slam dunk championship title coming up in All-Star Weekend, and we'll have that for you on the Superstation.
Good move by Larry Bird. He came out toward the foul line and just changed direction, didn't stop, and went back to the hoop. It was a perfect pass.
Wilkins with an excellent pass to Konkak, who takes it home. Konkak with 10, and that shows you the versatility of Dominique's game. In years gone by, he would have never made that pass.
That's because he never would have thought about it. He could have made it, but he had different priorities. I think one of the things that made his team a better team is the fact that he's now looking to get the ball up sometime.
Bird forces one up against good defense by Wilkins, and the Hawks lose it out of bounds. Dennis Johnson finally getting a chance to come in. Casey Jones wants a timeout, so obviously Casey is not real pleased with the way his Celtics are playing at this juncture, and he would like to see them put this game totally out of reach. With 6:13 to go, they still have a commanding 15-point advantage.
At 110 miles per hour, engineers find the new Honda Accord LXI hatchback to be quiet and comfortable. At half that speed, you could find it to be twice as quiet and comfortable.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do. or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Between my schoolwork and this job parking cars, I really have a full day. That's why I love a Milky Way. Take my mind off work, make plans for the game later. It's great.
You get the goodness of a quarter cup of milk in every bar. There's milk, natural cane and corn sugars, and thick chocolate in a Milky Way bar.
Milky Way, it really helps me out.
A Milky Way day helps you work, rest, and play.
A look at the men's scoreboard. A surprise, New Jersey losing at home to the Clippers, who had lost 5 consecutive games. And Sacramento coming up short against the Philadelphia 76ers, no surprise. Dallas leading Phoenix in the third at Dallas. And Golden State getting it handed to them down in San Antonio. The Spurs have lost 2 in a row, and they're making up for those 2 losses. 31-point advantage there. Ainge is into the ball game also now for Boston. Inside, Willis is really battling with McHale. Ainge has it knocked away by Spud Webb. Battle throws it out quickly to Webb, and Dominique takes it home. 26 for Wilkins.
And a 13-point lead.
And still 5:45 to play. Jerry Seasting getting ready to come back up, probably come in for Ainge, whose ankle obviously is causing some problems trying to guard Spud, and Parrish loses it out of bounds, and the Hawks with a chance to cut into that Boston lead once again. And there is Jerry Seasting as Ainge goes to the bench. We had told you before, this Hawk team will not give up, and that is, I think, a testament to their coach, Mike Fratello. Shot clock goes down inside of 10 as it's 1-on-1. Wilkins against Bird, and Wilkins wins. Wilkins with 28, and it's only an 11-point lead for Boston, and the crowd gets a bit concerned here as a few murmurs come about. Backcourt by Dennis Johnson. And another turnover for the Celtics. 23rd for Boston.
I think that was a bad call, because the defensive man knocked the ball back across the line.
You know, Bill, I don't think Darryl cares what you think.
I know.
I know he doesn't. He never cared what I played, what I thought it was. Dominique. Shot clock inside of 10. Illegal defensive warning against the Boston Celtics. It's against Seasting. Mike Fratello, as Casey Jones meets with Seasting, Fratello was meeting with Spud down the other end of the court.
I just think that if you know the rules, you won't get that call.
I know you keep saying that, but yet the players keep making the same mistake, Bill.
That's because I don't think that they really think about when they're away from the ball what the rule is.
That's Spud Webb. And that would have been a very, very important basket for the Hawks had that gone in. To cut it under that double-digit mark. With a chance for Boston to get it back up past the 11-point range. McHale on an excellent pass from Robert Parrish.
Right.
Spud Webb to Battle, who takes it home.
Now, they never got a chance to even give each other high fives before he got that ball to the hoop.
Well, the Hawks try to get it out even off of the made baskets. Battle knocks it away with a foul called. That's one thing, of course, that the Lakers probably do better than any other team, but the Hawks, they're improving, a young team. There's the knockaway by Webb. Seasting right there. The ball was knocked away, but they called him, I guess, with the left hand and the body down low. Looked like a pretty good play on the part of Battle. Remember, this is a very, very young Atlanta Hawk team. Team we'll probably be seeing a lot more of and hearing a lot more of in the years to come as they develop and gain even more maturity. Battle, the foul, his second personal foul. 4th team foul, only one against the Celtics with 4:09 to play. Larry Bird, three-pointer, Wilkins. Webb calls out a play for the Hawks. Might be a little two-man game here. Now they try this post up on Wilkins. 5 seconds on the shot clock. They better do something relatively quickly. Webb to Wilkins with 2 on the shot clock. And another costly miss for the Hawks. That would have been another opportunity to cut it inside of 10.
They didn't get a good shot.
A little bit rushed that time. 11-point Celtic lead. 3:30 to play in the game. McHale to Parrish. Webb, it's 3 against 3. Spud Webb, Wilkins! And the human highlight film comes through again. A 10-2 Atlanta run. It's a 9-point Boston lead. 3:10 to go. Wilkins now has hit the 30-point mark.
And Dennis Johnson just tricked young Mr. Battle.
And that will be the penalty. Third foul on Battle. Now let's watch Dominique on this great effort on the drive by Spud. From the right side of the screen, perfect timing, and it looked like McHale actually fouled him.
Oh, it was ridden a little bit.
Doc Rivers will be coming back into the ball game for Atlanta. Dennis Johnson has 21 points now and 7 assists to go along with it. Battle, not Battle going to the bench, it's Spud Webb who's going to the bench for Atlanta. Battle started to walk to the bench, but Mike Fratello said no.
And I think the reason the coach is thinking on this particular case is that the way the Celtics defense is setting up, they want some guy that can stand there or take one dribble and get the jump shot from the outside, because they're going to need some outside shooting, and that's what Doc Rivers can give them right now.
Inside of 3 minutes to play. Celtics by 11. 8 on the shot clock. Wilkins with a great second effort, 32 points.
That was some move there, Rick. He lost the ball and got it back and then made a tough shot off the board.
Great determination on the part of Dominique Wilkins. It's a 9-point Boston lead. Boston, with only 5 field goals this period, comes up short again, but a lucky bounce. And right to McHale from DJ. But that's the old leprechaun was here again today, Bill, I think, on that play. McHale has 24 points. And that was a very, very big play for the Celtics indeed. There's that little 2-man game. Wilkins with an advantage against DJ. Wilkins with great second effort once again. He has got 34 points.
And they keep it at 9 points.
1:50 to play the ball game.
What they got to do is stop the Celtics a couple of times. And they have to score when they get the other end. But that goes without saying. I shouldn't have said it.
8 on the shot clock. DJ, and from behind, Rivers had the ball, but somebody got part of DJ.
That was a good idea by Dennis Johnson not shooting that, because I don't think he felt he had the shots. He goes in now, gets 2 free throws. At least they probably will come up with at least one of them. And that's kind of important at this point. Make that a 10-point lead rather than at least a 10-point lead rather than a possibly 7-point.
Well, they say Rivers also got part of the body on DJ. He picked up the personal. DJ continues to roll along offensively now with 23 points. 8 for 9 from the free throw line, I think. Yes, 8 for 9 for DJ. Make it 9 for 10. And it's back to that 11-point advantage. 1:38 to go. And the Hawks are just running out of time. Willis against McHale. So one Kevin against the other, and Willis with his 8th point. 1:25 to play. Celtics just need to let the clock tick away. There's no jeopardy if they use as much time as they can on every possession. Bird to Parrish, basket, count it. Willis with the foul.
2 great passes, one from DJ and the one from Larry to Robert Parrish. Great passes. Watch this pass to the right, thread the needle with it, and again.
And Willis with the body. And you saw Larry Bird, one of the few players in the league who will go up to shoot the ball and still make the pass because he sees the floor. He has great court vision.
Well, those 2 little passes it's like a relay player in baseball. You get a better shot when you use 2 short passes instead of 1 long pass.
John Keck from the outside. 12 points for John and his reserve role off the bench. Again, back to that 9-point advantage for Boston, but we only have 55 seconds to play. DJ wisely using up the time, but this time it's knocked away by Willis. Battle to Wilkins. Wilkins draws the foul against Robert Parrish.
And if he hadn't been fouled and the whistle had blown, he'd had his own offensive rebound.
Dennis Johnson gets a little bit of a rest as Rick Carlisle re-enters the game. Excellent outing by DJ. Wilkins has 34 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple of shots that defy description. And he's having a little trouble at the free throw line, however. Oh for 4 from the free throw line for Dominique. Final 30 seconds ticking away. And the Hawks will lose for the 4th time this season to the Boston Celtics. But I still think they have impressed me to make me realize that this is a team to keep an eye on in the years to come. Rivers. Wilkins with almost another marvelous play. Good play by Battle on that pass from McHale. The final 4 seconds. 3, 2. Foul on Robert Parrish. That will send Rivers to the free throw line, even though the game is over. Rivers will have 2 free throws coming. So we'll see what the outcome of the game is as Casey Jones congratulates Dominique Wilkins. Rivers to final efforts of the ball game. We'll cut it to a 8-point margin now and could make it 7. But again, the Hawks weren't able to turn things around soon enough as they fell into a bit of a rut there after the first period, and they come up on the short end, losing to the Boston Celtics 115 to 108. But I still like the way they performed.
I do too.
And we'll keep an eye on them. Bill and I will be back with the player of the game shortly.
If you didn't care about the picture, you wouldn't take the shot. At least that's how Eckerd Drug sees it. That's why Eckerd gives you 2 photo guarantees on Ultralab 35 and System 2. Guarantee 1. If you aren't happy with any print, you don't have to pay for it. Guarantee 2. If your prints aren't back when promised, they're free. So if you cared enough to take the shot, take the film to Eckerd. One drugstore is better than the rest. Eckerd.
We've got what it takes.
At True Value Hardware stores, we have a lot of different customers. Professionals and do-it-yourselfers of all different ages. But they all have one thing in common. They all know about the great service they get at True Value. We take the time to treat people right, and that's what keeps all those different customers coming back. Thanks, Don. Time and time again.
We've got what it takes. True Value.
Experts have estimated that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 10 boys will be molested or raped before they reach adulthood. This is one of America's most alarming statistics. Behind these figures exist personal tragedies that could affect you or your children. I'm Jameson Parker, and I want to recommend that you watch To Protect the Children. It is the first television program that provides answers to the question, can we do anything about it?
9:05 Eastern on Superstation WTBS, Tuesday night.
Of all the beers in this world, there's only one brewed around the world, in the great beer-drinking countries, Lowenbrau.
Brewed in Munich. Brewed in England.
Sweden.
Canada. Japan. And here in America.
That's how you get 600 years of Bavarian heritage in one smooth American beer. No wonder this world calls for Lowenbrau.
This world calls for good times together. And this world calls for Lowenbrau right now.
To Jim Peck, who had 5 business lunches in 3 days, Republic Airlines awards the comforts of perks.
I've earned them.
To Denise Cresta, who had to preview 400 patterns of plaid, Republic awards the executive suite perk.
I've earned it.
And to Ron Barry, who had to be in 3 cities at the same time, Republic awards a free trip after only 20,000 miles. He's earned it.
We make you feel like
Well, even though Larry Bird and Kevin McHale had fine efforts, our light beer player of the game is Dennis Johnson with 24 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. And Light Beer from Miller is proud to present a check for $500 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Foundation in behalf of Dennis Johnson. A reminder that our next NBA action right here on the Superstation tomorrow night, 8:05 Eastern Time, Skip and John will bring you all the action of the Philadelphia 76ers against the Detroit Pistons and an update on that story about Isaiah Thomas. That will be tomorrow night. And then on Monday night, Bill and I will travel to Milwaukee as the Denver Nuggets go up against the Milwaukee Bucks. That'll be at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time, and we hope we'll join you for all of the action in those two ball games. Tonight, I'd like to thank our director, Tom Smith, for a marvelous job, and all of the rest of the crew, our producer, Glenn Diamond, our executive producer, Glenn Ellis, and I thank Jim Stamos and my wife, Pam, for the fine job with the statistics. A reminder that coming up right after our telecast here tonight, a very funny show, Red Fox in Sanford and Son. Our final here again from the Boston Garden. The Boston Celtics are victorious for the 4th time against the Atlanta Hawks this season as they win 115-108. For Bill Russell, this is Rick Barry. Good night, everybody.